My mom posted on Facebook praying for my son, who forgot where he came from. I just declined to co-sign her fourth car loan in 6 years. I didn't respond. I just changed my direct deposit. For 11 years, I'd been putting $1,400 per month into her account for bills. When she went to pay her mortgage that Friday, my phone buzzed while I was putting open house today. 12 to 2 signs in the snowbank on West 25th, Facebook notification from my mom. Lorraine M. do public post 8:17 a.m. praying for my son, who forgot where he came from. I stared at the screen until my eyes started to sting from the cold. Behind me, a guy in a Browns beanie walked past and said, "You good?" Yeah, I lied. Just morning stuff. My mouth was dry. My hands were already cold inside my gloves. My brain did that counting thing it does when it's trying not to panic. 8 signs, 2 balloons, 1 lockbox, 3 showings later, and 1 mother who had decided to put me on blast like I was a celebrity scandal. I clicked the post. Comments were already stacking up. And Pam, some kids don't appreciate their mothers. My cousin Tessa, you're in my prayers, Aunt Lori. Random church lady, he'll come around. They always do. Lorraine had tagged nobody, but she didn't need to. Everyone in Parma knew who my son was. Everyone who'd watched me drag groceries into her house at 19 knew. My phone buzzed again. Text. Mom, call me. I didn't. Not because I was trying to be tough. Because I could hear the next sentence like it was already playing in my ear. You embarrassed me. No, she embarrassed herself. And she did it on purpose. I got in my car, turned the heat on, and drove to my office downtown. Real estate doesn't pause because your mother is staging a public pity party. On the way, I replayed last night the moment everything snapped. We were in her kitchen. Same kitchen table I'd done homework at. Same vinyl floor with the corner peeling. She slid a glossy dealership print out across to me like it was a restaurant check. Just co-sign, she said. It's quick. I looked down. The top said Serpentini Chevrolet Strongsville. The monthly payment line was circled in pink highlighter. $742.19. Mom, I said this is your 4th car alone in 6 years. She made the face, the don't start face. It's not like that, she said. This one is reliable. I stared at the printout. It's a 2025 Tahoe Rain. It's safe, she snapped. And I deserve something nice. I breathed in through my nose. Calm. Realtor calm. The calm you use when a buyer says, we'll just waive inspection, right? And you have to keep them alive. I'm not doing it, I said. Her eyes went glassy, fast like a switch. After everything I've done for you, I've done a lot for you too, I said. She leaned forward. So, you're just going to let me struggle. You're not struggling, I said. You're choosing. That was the knife line. Her face changed like I'd slapped her. Get out, she said softly. I stood up. My chair scraped. I'm not fighting, I said. I'm saying no. Her voice went sweeter, which is always worse. Dean, where did you come from? I looked at her. Cleveland, she blinked. I grabbed my coat, my keys, and the folder I always carried, contracts, comps, my life in paper form, and I walked out. This morning, she turned my no into a prayer request. At my desk, I opened my laptop, logged into my payroll portal, and clicked direct deposit. For 11 years, I'd been sending money to her account. That's what she called it. Like it was normal, like it was communal, like I was a utility company. $1,400 every month. On the first, like rent, like a penance. I stared at the routing number that had been burned into my brain from typing it so many times. Then I opened a new tab, Huntington Bank, opened a new checking account. I didn't respond to her post. I didn't comment. I didn't explain myself to the internet. I just changed my direct deposit, and I set it to take effect immediately. Friday was her mortgage autopay. I knew that because, for 11 years, I'd been making sure that payment didn't bounce. I didn't scream. I did paperwork. I'm Dean. I'm 35. I sell houses in Cleveland, which means my job is basically talking people off ledges while pretending granite countertops are a love language. I grew up in Parma. Mom worked at a medical billing office. Dad left when I was 12 and never really came back. not in a way that counts. Rain filled the space with rules. Rule 1 was always the same. Family helps. When I got my first steady job at 19, warehouse work on the west side, Mom sat me down and made it sound responsible. "We'll do it together," she said, sliding a KeyBank deposit slip toward me. "You contribute to the household. That's what adults do." "How much?" I asked. She didn't even hesitate. $400 a week. I laughed because I thought she was joking. She wasn't. My paycheck at the time was maybe $600 a week after taxes if I picked up overtime. She took most of it, then told me I was lucky. "You have a roof," she'd say. "You have food." I swallowed it because what else do you do at 19? Then I got my real estate license at 24. My first year, I made $38,000 and felt like a millionaire because it meant I could breathe. Mom saw that and adjusted her math. She started using the phrase bills account. "It's easier," she said. "You just put it in one place. I'll handle everything." It sounded like she was taking something off my plate. What she was really doing was taking my plate. She opened an account for bills and put my name on it, too, because it helps with transfers. That was the excuse. Then my direct deposit started landing there. At first, I didn't notice because I was busy working weekends, calling leads, living off gas station coffee. I check my personal account and see money and think, okay, fine. But the bills account, that was the real thing. That was where she lived. That was where my money went to become her power. There were incidents. Always little, always framed as temporary. I thought it was temporary. It wasn't. Incident 1, the first car. 2019, I was 28. Mom's old Malibu died in the Giant Eagle parking lot on Ridge Road. She called me crying. "I'm stranded," she said. "I don't have money for a tow." I left a showing, drove there, and found her sitting in the driver's seat with the windows up like she was in a movie about betrayal. "I need a new car," she said immediately. "I can't get to work." "Okay," I said. "We'll find something." We went to a dealership in Midburgh Heights. She test drove a Jeep Compass that had leather seats and a touchscreen bigger than my first TV. "I like this one," she said. "It's $27,000, I said. She squeezed my arm. "Just co-sign. It's easier." I said no. She cried. She called Aunt Pam on speaker and said, "My own son won't help me." I co-signed. I told myself it was a one-time thing. Incident 2. The second car. 2021. She wanted out of the Jeep because the payment is too much, which was funny because she didn't pay it. I did indirectly through the bills account. She brought home a printout for a Nissan Altima and said, "Lower payment." See, I'm being responsible. The payment wasn't lower. It was just stretched longer. I said, "You still haven't refinanced the Jeep." She waved her hand. "They'll handle it." "They won't," I said. She got quiet, then said, "Don't make me look stupid." I co-signed again because I didn't want to fight. That was the pattern. She'd push until the cost of saying no felt higher than the cost of saying yes. Incident 3, the third car. 2023. She told me she needed an SUV because Cleveland winter, like she was climbing Everest. She picked a Kia Telluride with a third row. "You don't even drive, people." I said I might, she said. I asked, "Why can't you just keep the Ultima?" And she said, soft and deadly, "Because I'm not like you. I don't live for work. I'm allowed to enjoy life. Enjoy life on my credit." By then, I was paying $1,400 a month into that KeyBank bills account. The number wasn't random. She'd said it. "It covers everything," she'd say. "Mortgage, electric, groceries. Don't you want me stable?" She always said stable like it was a moral demand. What I didn't want to know, was how much of that bill's money was not bills. I started noticing small things. A new Coach bag, salon nails every 2 weeks, DoorDash receipts with steakhouse names. When I asked, she'd get offended. "Are you auditing me?" I'd back off because I didn't want to be the guy who fights with his mom over groceries. But I also watched myself shrink. And I watched the people around me learn to shrink. There's a moment I keep replaying because it wasn't dramatic. It was just sad. Last summer, my girlfriend at the time, Marissa, was at my place in Tmont. We were eating takeout, and my phone kept buzzing. Mom again. Then a text. Call me now. Marissa looked up and said, Do you have to? I said, It's probably important. I called. Mom answered with no hello. My card got declined at Target. Okay. I said, What do you need? I need you to transfer $300. I opened the banking app. My brain counted again. Rent in 4 days, car insurance, student loan. Mom, I just sent the $1,400 and it's gone. She snapped. Things cost money, Dean. Marissa sat there quiet. Then she said something that made my stomach drop. Do you want me to Venmo you for my half of dinner? She thought she was a burden because my mother was draining me. That's what this dynamic does. It teaches everyone around you to get smaller so one person can stay big. I thought if I just kept paying, she'd be calm. I thought if she was calm, I'd have peace. But peace you buy isn't peace, it's rent. After the Facebook post, I did what I always do when a situation is emotional and I can't afford to be. I made a list, change direct deposit, move my savings, lock my credit, document everything. At 9:06 a.m., I got an email confirmation from payroll. Your direct deposit changes will take effect on the next pay cycle. Next pay cycle was Friday. Perfect. At 9:14 a.m., my phone rang again. Mom, I let it ring. Then she texted, Mom, you're really going to ignore me. Mom, after everything, Mom, you're breaking my heart. At 9:22 a.m., Aunt Pam called. I answered because Aunt Pam doesn't call unless Mom has already started recruiting. Dan, she said, breathy like she'd been crying for Mom on command. Your mother is upset. I saw. I said she's scared. Aunt Pam said she's just trying to get by. I looked at my computer screen. I had the Key bank account open. 11 years of transfers. The dates were so consistent. It looked like a subscription. $1,400. January 1st, February 13th. Like a heartbeat. She's not scared. I said she's angry. I said no. Pam's tone sharpened. You owe her. There it was. Family language. Oh, sacrifice. Respect. Don't make a scene. I said, I have a showing. Bye, Aunt Pam. I hung up before she could escalate. Wave 1 was the guilt. It came in like clockwork. My cousin Tessa texted a screenshot of the Facebook post with a sad face emoji. Tessa, why would you do this to her? My old high school friend Jason DM'd me. Jason, yo dude, your mom okay? Even my client, Mrs. Bernardi, made a comment at an inspection. I saw your mom's post, she said like it was community news. Mothers worry, you know. I smiled politely and said, she'll be fine. Inside I was boiling. Not rage, screaming boiling. The cold, focus kind. The kind that makes you start saving screenshots. I made a folder on my desktop, Lorraine receipts. I saved the Facebook post. I saved the comments. I saved the texts. Then I went deeper. I pulled my credit report. 3 auto loans were sitting there like weights. I pulled the loan documents I still had from the first cosign. I'd kept them because I'm the kind of person who keeps paperwork. It's why I'm a good realtor and why my mom hates me when I get organized. Then wave 2 hit. Practical harm. On Wednesday, I got a notification from KeyBank. Low balance alert. Bills checking ending 7712 has fallen below $200. Low balance because my next paycheck wasn't going there. On Thursday night at 10:48 p.m., my phone buzzed again. Mom, I need you to transfer the mortgage money right now. Mom, now Dean. Mom, I'm not playing. I didn't respond. Not because I wanted her to suffer. Because I wanted to see what she did when I didn't fix it. Friday morning, 7:31 a.m. Another notification. Transaction declined. AC payment. Rocket mortgage, $986. My stomach flipped even though I expected it. Seeing it in black and white still hits different. At 7:33 a.m., Mom called. I answered. She didn't say, hello. What did you do? She hissed. I changed my deposit, I said. Silence. Then a sharp inhale like she was trying to decide which version of herself to use. You can't do that, she said finally like she was talking about a law. I can't, I said. It's my paycheck. Her voice went high. My mortgage didn't go through. I know, I said. You knew this would happen, she snapped. Yes, I said. That's the point. You're punishing me, she said, suddenly crying. Not soft crying, angry crying. I'm not, I said. I'm stopping. She switched tactics fast. So, you want me to lose my house? I want you to pay your own bills, I said. You don't understand, she said. Things are tight. Then don't buy a Tahoe, I said. That's when she started yelling. Don't tell me what to do. You're not my father. I stared out my office window at Euclid Avenue traffic. Calm, just facts. Where is the money going, Mom? I asked. She choked on the question. What? I send $1,400 every month, I said. Mortgage is $986. Utilities, maybe $250. Where is the rest going? She went quiet. Then in a tone like I was the problem, she said, Are you calling me a liar? I'm asking for numbers, I said. It's not emotional, it's math. I don't owe you an explanation, she snapped. That line did something to me, because she was right in one way. She didn't owe me an explanation. She owed the bank and she owed herself adulthood. I said, Give me the login for the mortgage account. No, she said immediately. Then I'm done, I said. You can't be done, she said, panicked now. Dean, please. Just this month. Just this one. I took a breath. Mom, I said, I'm not co-signing anything else. I'm not paying your mortgage, and I'm removing myself from everything with my name on it. You wouldn't, she whispered. I didn't argue. That's when I stopped arguing and started documenting. I ended the call, opened a notebook, and wrote down the time and the exact words she used. Then I called a lawyer. Not a dramatic, I'm suing you call, a calm, I need to unwind my financial entanglement call. His name was Mark Feldman. Cleveland guy, straight voice, no nonsense. He said, Dean, the first thing you do is separate your finances completely and put everything in writing. I already changed direct deposit. I said, good. He said, next. Close any joint accounts, freeze your credit, and communicate through email. Email boundaries that can be printed. I like that. At 11:12 a.m., my mom showed up at my open house. Of course she did. She marched in like she owned the place, wearing her church coat and a face full of righteous pain. A couple was in the living room discussing the fireplace. I stepped toward her, smiling like a professional because my clients didn't deserve her chaos. Lorraine, I said quietly, you can't be here. She raised her voice anyway. So, you're really going to let your mother get foreclosed on? The couple's heads snapped toward us. My mouth went dry. My brain counted. 2 clients, 1 mom, 1 decision. I didn't yell. I leaned in and said, calm. If you don't leave, I'm calling the police. Her eyes widened like she couldn't believe I said the word police in a house with stage throw pillows. You wouldn't do that, she whispered. I said, try me. She left, but not before she said, loud enough for the couple to hear, I hope you can live with yourself. I watched her go. Then I turned back to my clients and said, I'm sorry about that. The guy blinked. Was that your mom? Yes, I said. He looked uncomfortable, then said the most Cleveland thing imaginable. Family's man. I smiled once. Yeah, inside. I was already pulling up my phone and saving the Ring camera clip from the cellar system because now I had proof she tried to interfere with my work. Receipts. By Monday, my mom had posted again. Lorraine M. Public post 6:02 p.m. When your own child chooses money over his mother, God sees. I didn't comment. I didn't message her. I drafted 1 email. Subject, financial separation. I kept it short. Lorraine, effective immediately. I am no longer contributing to your bills account. I will not co-sign any future loans. Do not attempt to use my banking information, credit, or identity for any purpose. All communication about finances must be in writing. I sent it at 6:19 p.m. Then I did the irreversible steps. I went to Huntington Bank in person, downtown branch. I sat with a banker named Deshan, who had kind eyes and has seen it all vibe. I need to close an account, I said, and I need to make sure nobody can reopen it without me. He nodded like this was Tuesday. Any concerns about unauthorized access? He asked. Yes, I said. He didn't ask for drama. He asked for IDs and signatures. We closed the key bank bills account that had my name on it. We printed the closure confirmation. I put it in a folder. Lorraine receipts. Then I froze my credit with all 3 bureaus. I set up a fraud alert because I knew my mom. When she loses money access, she goes looking for other access. The breaking point came that same night at 9:47 p.m. My phone buzzed with a credit monitoring alert. New credit inquiry detected. Auto loan application. Serpentine Chevrolet. My throat went cold. She was still trying to buy the Tahoe. With my information, I clicked details. The application used my full legal name, my previous address, and Parma. And this part made my ears ring, my social security number. I didn't have to guess who did it. I called her immediately. She answered like she'd been waiting. "Deanne," she said, sweet as syrup. "Hi. Did you apply for a car loan using my social security number?" I asked. Silence. Then a sigh like I was inconveniencing her. "I had to," she said. My hands went numb. "You had to commit fraud." I said, "Don't be dramatic," she snapped. "They asked for the cosigner info." "You've always know," I said very calm. "You used my identity without permission." "I'm your mother," she said like that was a password. "That doesn't make it legal," I said. Her tone turned sharp. "So what? You're going to get me arrested." I paused because this is where old Dean would have backed down. Old Dean would have tried to solve it quietly. But my credit wasn't a feelings journal. It was my livelihood. I'm a realtor. My financial health matters. My ability to get a mortgage matters. My ability to not be ruined matters. I said, "Yes." She laughed one short burst. "You wouldn't." "I'm filing a report tonight," I said. "And I'm notifying the dealership and the lender in writing." Her voice jumped an octave. "Dean, I didn't raise mine. I'm not available for this," I said, and I hung up. I drove to the Cleveland Police District Station on Payne, not because I wanted to punish her, because I needed a case number. I needed a clean line between my life and hers. The officer at the desk, Officer Hernandez, listened while I showed him the alert on my phone. He asked, "Do you know who applied?" "Yes," I said. "My mother." He nodded slowly, like he'd heard this more than once. "Do you want to file an identity theft report?" he asked. I swallowed. My mouth tasted like pennies. "Yes," I said. He typed, printed, and slid the paper across. Case number. I stared at it because it felt like a door closing. Hernandez said, "This doesn't automatically mean she gets arrested tonight, but it documents your claim. It protects you." Protect. That word mattered. The next morning, I called Serpentine Chevrolet. I asked for the finance manager. A guy named Brad came on. "Hey, man," he said, friendly. "What can I do for you?" I said, "I'm Dean M. Somebody applied for financing using my personal information without authorization. If there's an application in my name, I need it withdrawn, and I need confirmation in writing." Brad paused. "Okay, let me pull it up." I listened to the keyboard clicks. Then he said, "Yeah, I see it. Cosigner application was started yesterday." "Cancel it," I said. "Do you want to come in?" "No." I said, "Cancel it. And note that it was unauthorized." Brad's voice got careful. "Okay, we can do that." I said, "Email me confirmation." I gave him my email. Then I sent one group text, one sentence to my mom, Aunt Pam, and my cousin Tessa, the people who'd been running their mouths online. "Do not contact my clients or employer." I filed an identity theft report after an unauthorized auto loan application was submitted using my personal information. No paragraphs, no debate, just a fact and a boundary. The replies came fast. "Aunt Pam, you didn't have to do that." "Tessa, this is too far." "Mom, how dare you?" I didn't respond. I had what I needed: an official record, written notice, and a clear boundary. Then I did the last irreversible step. I called Mark Feldman, my lawyer, and said, "Draft a formal cease and desist in a demand letter. I want it clear. No credit applications, no accounts, no use of my information, and I want it sent certified mail." Mark said, "Done." That afternoon, I went to Home Depot and bought new locks. Not for her house, for mine. The first week after I cut the money off, my body felt weird, like it was waiting for the next crisis. I'd wake up and check my phone like a reflex, bracing for mortgage or car or target declined. But the quiet held because the quiet wasn't her peace anymore. It was mine. Two small scenes stick with me. Scene 1. Tuesday morning, 7:10 a.m. I sat at my kitchen counter in Tmont with coffee and opened my bank app. My paycheck was there in my account, not filtered through her system, not siphoned. I stared at the number like it was a magic trick. Then I paid my own bills in 10 minutes. Rent, insurance, student loan. I didn't feel guilty. I felt steady. Scene 2. Saturday afternoon. I took my nephew Caleb, my buddy's kid, not family, out for Mitchell's ice cream because I promised him after I sold his mom's condo. He got chocolate, extra sprinkles, and said, "You're rich." I laughed. "I'm not." He said, "You have money for ice cream." That line hit me harder than it should have because for years I'd been acting like I didn't. Not because I was broke, because my mother had decided my money was her oxygen. The last tactic came 3 weeks later. A knock at my door on a Sunday 4:26 p.m. I opened it and found Lorraine holding a store-bought cake in a plastic container. Vanilla, the kind she used to bring to church potlucks to look generous. Her eyes were red like she'd practiced being wounded. "I baked," she said. "You didn't," I said, looking at the label. She blinked, then forced a smile. "Can we talk?" I kept my voice calm. "About what?" She stepped forward like she owned my threshold. "I'm your mother." I didn't move. "I got a letter," she said, and her voice sharpened. "From your lawyer. You think you're better than me now." "I think I'm separate from you," I said. She laughed like it was ridiculous. "So, you're just going to let me drown?" "You're an adult," I said. "You can sell the Telluride. You can refinance. You can downsize. You can get a roommate. You have options." Her mouth tightened. "You want me to live with strangers?" "I want you to live within your means," I said. Her eyes flicked around my place like she was evaluating it for judgment. "You forgot where you came from." I felt the old trigger rise, the old urge to defend myself, to list every sacrifice, every transfer, every loan. Instead, I said the truth. I came from a place where love had a price tag. I said, "I'm not living there anymore." She stared at me like she didn't recognize me. "Dean," she said softly, switching back to sweet. "Just help me for a little while. We'll figure it out." I looked at the cake. I looked at her, and I said the boundary out loud. The one I'd been living for weeks. "I'm not available for that." Her face twisted. "So that's it. That's it," I said. I didn't slam the door. I didn't yell. I didn't call her names. I just held the line. She left the cake on my porch like it was evidence. I threw it out. Now, months later, the Facebook posts are gone or buried or replaced with something else she can get attention for. My credit is clean. My accounts are mine. I still sell houses. I still deal with stressful people, but none of them have my social security number memorized. I don't hate my mom. I just don't fund her. The moral is simple, and it's not dramatic. Help is a choice, not an obligation. Love doesn't require you to sign your name to someone else's chaos. Access to me is not a family, right, and I'm not available for.